Hello, welcome back to Please Hold I'm Mothering. Today's guest is Brenna, a new mom, counselor, and life coach who describes herself as a rough draft of who I'm meant to be. She's someone who holds space for others in their own healing while openly navigating the messy, tender, and transformative realities of motherhood herself, from postpartum depression and rage to rebuilding her sense of identity to balancing the pressures of being both a caregiver and a professional. Brenna brings a raw honesty and wisdom that so many of us will see in ourselves. She's here to share not just the tools from her trauma informed practice, but also the deeply human side of figuring it out in real time. I walked away from this conversation feeling so much lighter, so seen, so heard. And I really, really hope that this episode will resonate with you as well. Let's get into it. I'm so excited you're here. For
Yeah.
listeners meeting you for the first time, how would you introduce yourself in this current season?
Oh my gosh. I feel like that's such a big question, especially when you become a mom. You're like, wait, let me reintroduce myself from who I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, I always like to say I wear a bunch of hats, like in life,
Yep.
in career. Life wise, obviously, I'm a mom. I keep saying new mom, and then I'm like, am I still a new mom? She's 16 months. But I'm
I
still like,
feel
yeah,
like
I'm a new
we're a
mom.
new mom till we're 18. Like, I think because you're a
Yes.
new
Like
mom
I'm
in
gonna
every phase.
literally I
Yeah.
could be on to my second kid and I'm still gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm a new mom and of 2." I have a 16-month-old, she's obviously, everything, and I feel like takes up so much of my identity now in a way that I'm, like, so
Yeah.
welcoming with, I'm so okay with, and then I have a wonderful husband and partner and teammate, and
That's
he's been,
so
like,
important.
obviously a rock, so important, when you're dealing with all this, and wear a couple different hats as well career-wise. I work in 2 very different fields that somehow
Okay.
sometimes connect, but I work, as a mental health counselor, and I always call my therapeutic work my kind of my passion work. It's like what I just longed to do for so long, and so, I have kind of historically specialized with youth and young adults and couples. That was just sort of like where everything went for me and working with a lot of like stress, anxiety, life transitions, trauma. And then outside of that, I work in child and youth program management. So kind of like
Fun.
wearing a few different hats and trying to manage and balance all of it. But that's sort of,
What?
yeah, I'm a pet parent. I've got a dog and a cat at home and,
You've got a
all
lot
the
going
different
on.
a lot going on, managing a household with, yeah, pets and human babies and fur babies and, 2
Yeah.
jobs and a lot, yeah.
Ah, oh my gosh. Okay. That is a lot of different hats and a lot to manage. Like, that's very
Yes.
impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like everyone finds their own way. Like, I have people tell me, I mean, I run my own business. I'm self-employed. I'm home all the time. Like, we don't have care yet. We're still working on that for him.
Oh
So
my gosh.
people tell me that, but I'm like, I just do it. Like, it's my
It's
day.
just
Like,
second nature, you just have to figure it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no choice, right? Like, especially like when I was postpartum, I had clients who were like, "Why are you calling me?" I'm like, "Because I'm still working. I have to. I don't have somebody else to cover it. I just what do
Yes,
you mean, why am I
exactly.
calling you?" Yeah.
Still have to
But,
do the
like,
job.
that's it. Can you walk us through your journey, to becoming a therapist and life coach? And how did motherhood
Yeah.
shape that?
Yeah, I think stepping into therapy, and working life coaching and counseling, that world was very I feel like it in a lot of ways came very naturally because
Okay.
um, it came from early introduction, I would say, into therapeutic support. So when I was a kid, I started seeing a play therapist. My mom was really, really kind of instrumental and obviously at the time getting me into counseling, which I think she really thought was going to be important.
Okay.
We kind of had, life circumstances as a kid that I think really led me into that place of needing that support. And I'm so grateful that I had that. And it gave me this really positive introduction to counseling, which I think a lot of people, they don't find it until their adult years. I'm so grateful that I had that as a kid and had the opportunity. So play therapy is
Yeah.
essentially the same idea except for kids. So it's like when children aren't able to express themselves with their words or really fully understand complex emotions and things like that yet, they would step
Right.
into that world first. And then, obviously from
It's
there,
so cool.
I started I saw a counselor through my teen years, dealing with all the normal teen struggles and everything like that, and then into my early adult years, and even now, like, I still have my therapist. I still, it's like it's super
Yeah.
important. I feel like healing, obviously, it's not linear, and you're just like you are always doing that work, and so, yeah, so it sort of got me really excited about the idea of helping people. So when I was a teen, I was like obviously going through, like, many different things in my head about what I wanted to do. I think we all kind of find ourselves there. It's like, I wanna be, like, a
Oh,
drama
yeah.
teacher, and I wanna be a vet, and I wanted
I
all the
wanted to be
things, and then I
an OBGYN at one point, and I look back and I'm like, who did I think I was? But that's
oh my
besides the
god.
point.
Well,
Like,
imagine now, right? It's like, yeah, sometimes I think about the things I would have wanted to do, and I'm like, now as a mom, I'm like, "Man, that actually would have been really cool," right? But it's
yeah.
yeah, it just led me to this natural place of wanting to become a counselor. So, it took me a few years, like, I took a few years off, I, like, think a lot of people, they think you're gonna take a gap year, and then it's gonna be totally fine, you're gonna get right back into it, and instead, it turned into, like, a gap 5 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I finally found a program that I was really excited about, and then I ended up dropping out of that, and I found one that later on that, really resonated, and it was like an experiential program, so essentially you're learning by doing, right? And so I was able to
Cool.
do the work, the counseling work kind of through my schooling. I met my husband there, and so he is also a counselor,
Oh
which
my
is
gosh.
amazing. So it's, like,
Yeah.
really handy. It brought me many things in
Yes.
life, obviously. And then I just sort of stepped into it that way. And in terms of, like, how motherhood has, I think it's shifted a lot for me in terms of my what I kind of want to specialize in, or what I want my focus to shift to in counseling, because
Okay.
naturally I think as we learn, especially in that first year of motherhood, but really all throughout motherhood, I know that this is going to be something that continues. You learn that motherhood is challenging. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
hard to maintain everything, how to it's hard to, like, figure out your identity as a mom, as a working mom, and all that, I remember thinking even in my pregnancy, it started in there, the loneliness that I felt at certain points in
Yeah.
pregnancy, right? And
It can be
navigating
so
that when
lonely.
yeah, it's if friends of
Yeah.
yours, for instance, if you don't have too many friends who are pregnant or having kids around the same time, it's like, who do you talk to? Where do you
Yep.
turn to? And I always said, like, I felt like a 30-year-old teen mom, or because I was just like, I was like, it's so, oh my gosh, it's crazy. And I just was like, we can't all we all feeling this way and just needing that support. So definitely has shifted what I want to specialize in. I think a lot of ways I want to find ways to welcome in the like postpartum work and working with new moms to be. And I really resonated with something you said around the idea of just kind of who your podcast is for, and the idea
Yeah.
of working with those women who are like, they're not sure yet if they even want to be a mom, right? Or how you navigate
Yep.
all that. And that's so much of it too, right? It's kind of being in that stage. I definitely was in that stage before getting pregnant, whereas I don't know what I want to if I how I want to approach motherhood, when I'm going to be ready and comfortable to do it. And so that's
Yeah.
the kinds of, women that I want to be able to work with as well. So it's kind of just I wanna be able to welcome that in and still do what I'm doing and working with young adults and couples, but kind of welcoming in, yeah, that postpartum world and, moms to be and pregnant mom, yeah, all the stuff. So, a
I
lot of
love
mom
that.
work.
And I feel like even if you have a plan, like just talking about the women who, maybe aren't sure and then get pregnant, but have a plan, I feel like that, as soon as you have the baby, everything could change too. Like I had plans that he was gonna be in daycare at 6 months old. And then I was like, "Nobody else is taking care of my kid at 6 months old. I'm
Right?
sorry, what?" Not a chance. You know what I mean? Like, you just get thrown these curveballs, and that's I haven't I'm so I have a couple people in mind of people who aren't sure what motherhood's gonna look like for them just because they are building
For
their
sure.
career, and I'm so excited to explore that. Because like you said, I don't want this
Absolutely.
just to be for moms. Like, really want this to be a community of almost like changing the narrative too around womanhood, I guess. Like, it doesn't have to be about
Absolutely.
motherhood, But if it is about motherhood, that's okay. Like, you're allowed to want both. You're allowed to want all these things. Does
Absolutely. Yeah,
that
and
make
just kind of
sense?
like appealing to all that, all those groups, 'cause I think that is challenging. It's like sometimes I wanna speak to those moms, and then I'm also like, "Yeah, but I remember being that friend too that was I wasn't a mom yet when some other friends of mine were, and then it was, they're ahead by 5 years now or so, and I didn't know how to relate to that, and it's important
Yeah,
because you do want to, right? Like, I think when you're in that place, you still wanna be able to relate, you still wanna be able to stay close and build those
absolutely.
connections, but kind of understand how we still connect as women, right? Like that is different than how you might connect with moms or how you might connect with moms to be or whatever, right? There's you're sort of
Oh my gosh.
building that too. And yeah, so it's about focusing on all of that.
That is so
Yeah.
well said. That is exactly what I've been trying to say.
Well, I'm
So
glad because
good.
I feel like my brain is just like mush today. So I very much appreciate that.
Oh my gosh. No, that, like, actually, it kinda ties into, how our sense of self evolves from, y you know, not being a mom to are we gonna be a mom? What's our career gonna look like? Where are we gonna go? And your Instagram bio mentions a rough draft of who I'm meant to become, which when I saw that, I was like, my
Yes.
still copy paste is so good. But what does that mean to you now, especially, moving through the identity shift from pre-mom to new mom to busy working mom with all your hats?
Yeah, I it's funny because I barely I remember changing it to that, and then I also I'm kinda like, yeah, where was I at in my? Because I it was definitely it was after having my daughter, and I randomly, like, I think it was something it was like a quote from a TV show, like, a before that, that was
Amazing.
very, like, half deep, not really though, and then I switched it to this, and I think I was definitely at this place that it made and I still am, that it makes sense to me, like, I am very much a rough draft, like, I'm just in a lot of ways trying to navigate, and just be accepting of the fact that, like, I compare and I've always done that. Like I will look at somebody and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, they look like they have it all together. How do they?" And especially when you're like a mom and you're trying to navigate that and feeling that added pressure of like, "How do I do this and do it well?" Right? And like there's moms doing it this way. How could you possibly do that? How can I do that? But I definitely find comfort in knowing that I don't have to have it all together yet. I don't have to be in this place where, things are perfect. It's all so messy right now. It's always I think it's probably always like that, right? And so I may be a rough draft for many, many years to come. I may feel like that forever. I don't know. I could be like 80 years old and still be like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm still going to become somebody else," like
I feel
so
like it's such a I don't know if healthy is the right word to look at it, but it's like almost like a healthy way to look at, you know, each phase of your life. You're going to be a rough draft no matter what phase you're in
for
because it's a
sure.
new phase that you're going into, whether that be,
Yeah.
motherhood, having a toddler, having a teen, having an adult, being a grand, you know what I mean? Like it's such a I don't know, it really shifted, like, when I read that, it shifted kind of my way of looking at the different phases
Yeah.
because we're figuring it out as we go.
That's the thing, and it's like every stage is so different, right? Like, I even felt like that before becoming a mom, but now, especially being a mom, it's like every stage you figure it
Yeah.
out, and then they hit a different phase, the new milestones, right? And then you figure that
Yeah.
out, and then and it's like you just continue down the line. And so it makes sense to me now when people say things like it doesn't necessarily get easier, you just get used to it. Like you just get more kind
Yeah.
of like, okay, this is second nature and you get more accepting of the chaos and the mess and you
Yes.
don't it doesn't fix itself, right? But that's sort of what I feel like in my own life in general. It's like that, whether it's me as a mom or me in my marriage or me in my career, I'm just
Mhm.
in my everyday life and my friendships, whatever, it's just I'm constantly going to be learning and growing, and I don't want to find myself ever in the place of yeah, like not learning and growing anymore. It's really like I don't know why I was
Yeah.
connected to this. Growing up, I had an alcoholic parent and
Okay.
watching my parent go through AA and then seeing the way that they look at like you don't call yourself a recovered alcoholic. You would refer to yourself as a recovering alcoholic, right? And
Yes, I've heard
I
those
guess the
actually.
whole yeah. Yeah, and it's like the whole idea makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you put that pressure on yourself, and it's like, I'm recovered, I'm fine now, I'm okay, you don't know what
Yeah.
tomorrow is gonna look like. You literally only know today, right? And right
Yeah.
now, you don't know an hour from now even, right? So it's just sort of like
Yeah.
accepting where you are and understanding that you're not recovered, you're not perfect, you're not fixed, you're not gonna be all those things, and sort of taking
You're a
that
work in
pressure away
progress
from yourself so that yes, exactly. So,
all the time.
it definitely resonates more than ever now. So
Oh my gosh, yeah, I mean, I think you kinda touched on it before, but, like, do you feel like that rough draft I feel like you said it feels messy sometimes, but does it sometimes also feel, like, freeing? Like, having that like you just said, taking that pressure off of yourself, to
for sure.
not every day is gonna
Yeah,
be perfect. Not every day is gonna be the way
exactly.
you planned, and you're learning as you go.
For sure, and I still feel though like there's times where I have to continuously accept that because there's some days where like I
Mhm.
still I mean and most moms would probably relate to this. It's like if I see a mess around the house, I'm still going to feel like, "Oh my god, this is too much for me." Like this is too overstimulating if my daughter's throwing food all over the place and I just made this beautiful meal for her so that she would eat, I'm still going to
Yeah.
get overstimulated and be like frustrated and overwhelmed or exhausted at times. So it's not even this perfect thing where I'm like, oh, I'm so freed and I'm accepting it all. But like I am in a place at least of understanding going into it. Like I'm prepared. And then I'm going to have a response potentially, right? If I'm in a specific kind of a certain place in my head, I'm going to have a response. And yet
Especially
that's okay. Because
overstimulated,
then
like, gonna come. It's gonna
for
happen.
sure, like, that's so normal, right? It's gonna happen, and so
Yeah.
then I'm like, "Okay, but this is okay," right? And I just have to continuously accept that and remind
Yeah.
myself, right? And that mess could be deeper than that. It could be, like, how I'm feeling mentally in the day and, like, how I spoke to my husband earlier, right? And then I feel bad, and my husband has this way of wording it where he's like, "You can test words out, you can say something and test it out and see how it fits, and if you wanna take it back, you can take it back. It's all editable," right? It's like,
Ooh,
you can do that in
yeah,
your and so if there's yeah, and I love the free
I've
how
never heard
freeing that
that.
felt for me as a partner because I felt like having my partner share with me that essentially that it's okay if you say something and you have to come back a minute later and say, "Hey, I take that back. I did not mean that. That's not where I'm at. I
Yeah.
don't,"
That was in a heightened
it
moment,
feels
you know?
yeah. For sure, and you have to build safety, I think, to be able to have that, but I have that safety within myself, I think, or I'm learning how to have that safety within myself as well, to be able to say, like, yeah, I might do or say something as a mom, and then I gotta take it back, because I realize that's not how I wanna show up, right? And that's how we learn. So, it's just sort of,
Yeah.
like, about making those mistakes, but understanding, like, you can repair that. You can come back and acknowledge it, you can take accountability, you can repair it, and then, like, let's move forward with it. So, yeah,
Oh my
that's
gosh,
sort
I'm
of
gonna
where
carry
I'm
that with me. I'm gonna
currently.
go upstairs and be like, "Babe, I learned something new today. This is so good."
I
Like,
love that. Oh my
he's
god.
so good. He is very like, there's some times where I find myself, I come back and I'll be like, "The tone that came out in that moment,
Let's talk
I
about
just"
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
so
my
sorry.
gosh. So humbling.
And he
It's
goes
so humbling.
it honestly really is. I've done it even to Brody, like, my one-year-old, I'll be like, "Okay." Mummy was a little overstimulated there for a second, like, just because all the utensils, because he doesn't like to be in the living room, like, have his toys, and I'm like, "I'm just gonna make supper. Like, I can see you, you can see me, but he needs to be, like, right where I am."
Needs to
So,
be right
like,
there.
mhm, I was cooking spaghetti today, and he was literally hugging my leg with, like, a spatula going like this, and I was like, "Hey, it's fine.
Oh my god.
Everything's good."
Oh
Like,
my gosh. We're this exact same way over here. My daughter, Nora, she's like, oh my gosh, I'll just like, yeah, I'll put her in the same thing, living room, like set up all her
yeah,
toys. We obviously, us moms, like we're putting so much work into building like a cute little toy area with some toys there for you
yes.
and some this and whatever, like all your stuff. You got all of the things that you need. And mommy's right here, like literally visible and right over in the next room. And, but yeah, it's never enough. So you really have to oh my gosh, that's like one of those
Listen,
things that you have to navigate is like you always have this little person beside you and they
yeah.
just want to be beside you all the time. So
Well,
it's a lot.
and he very much he just likes to be involved, which I'm learning. Even, like, we have a gas stove top
Like
oven.
stovetop? Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
us too.
So I'm cooking, and he's now got the special, and he's trying to help me. stir the stuff, but like reaching from down. And I was like,
Oh.
I know this is like so cute and it's a very cute moment. I'm enjoying it, but like, God forbid that spatula hit the flame. And then now I've got a toddler with like, I don't know, the intrusive thought went to a toddler with like a flaming spatula. And I was like,
Yes. I'm just gonna say, literally, the intrusive thoughts will hit in any beautiful moment. I've found, like, I'm trying to get Nora to, like, now she's at that stage too of, like, wanting to help with
yeah.
everything, and she just started walking recently too, so now it's like, I'll bring her into the kitchen with me, and I'll be like, "Okay, help mommy make your Cheerios for you." So she'll go grab her cereal out of the cupboard, I'll tell her to close the cupboard, and she'll grab her little thing of peanut butter, and she'll open the fridge and close it for me, and at least that way I can get her involved in it, but
Yeah.
it's like, it's because she is so mad if she's not, right? But then it's like, I always have those intrusive thoughts of like, "Oh my gosh," but now she's going into the like, trying to get into the cupboard. She's learned that mommy says it's okay to go into the cupboards. I'm gonna go into the cupboards. I'm gonna try to open everything, and oh my gosh, and then, yeah, my mind just spirals. I'm like, "What a cute," this was such a cute moment where I was, like, I was figuring out something in motherhood, and now I'm like, "Oh, never mind. I'm panicked and
Now
anxious
I have
over it
like
now." So,
30 other scenarios. Yeah. That are coming up and
playing
I'm
in my
like,
head.
all the things that could happen. But and
Exactly.
like
All the time.
what I try to remember in that moment is I remember seeing a quote that was, and I mean, I worked in preschool for years. I worked in childcare for years, and it's true. And the quote was, they don't want to be distracted, they want to be involved. And
Yes. Yes.
I always try to remember that in those moments. I'm like, he just wants to be here. He just wants to be here with me. If I can make him feel involved, whether that be I just put the strainer and the spoons and stuff on the floor and let him have at her. Yeah, it's a little bit more chaotic, but at least he's not reaching up into the flames or, in
For
the other room
sure.
bugging me down.
Yes. Just finding the ways for sure. They're like the safer versions. I mean, they always their favorite toys, we always learn their favorite toys are the cutlery anyways. Like, give them the rubber spatula to play with because they're gonna like that over, like, the toy in the next room, you know? It's just, yeah,
So
finding
true.
those ways. You might as well welcome the chaos and bring it in so you can get something done, you know? But or Miss Rachel,
Yeah.
that's, like, the other thing we'll just turn to is
You know what?
Miss Rachel
That
will
worked
always
for about 5 minutes. And now he's like, cool, one song. And now I'm over here. And I'm like, okay, and he's very much not that kid as of yet. So I'm
oh my
like,
gosh, I
whatever.
wish we were in that position sometimes. I'm like, I wish because my daughter just wants Miss Rachel. Like, she will, like,
Oh
grab the
my
remote
God.
control, she'll start turning the TV on. I'm like, "No, like, let's not do teach you this." Like, oh
It's
my
so
god,
crazy
but
how early they figure that out. Like the remote,
yes.
and he finds them. I don't know how he finds them. I hide them. I put them up places and all he has, I don't know. It's a whole,
Oh my god. It's the cause and effect thing. They just have, like, an obsession over it, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, well, now I know the hiding places too, so I'm gonna figure that out, and then I'm gonna see a funny reaction from my mom, so I'm gonna continue to do it." And it's just like, oh, it's
oh
continuous,
my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah. Which parts of your identity have felt the most tender, complicated, or surprising since becoming a mom?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, like, I mean, obviously, all of it feels
Mhm.
very tender and sort of sensitive, and I'm learning as I go, but I always like, I see things through different lenses all the time, and I find, in counseling, we do a lot of, like, parts work, right? So, like, working with those
Mhm.
different accepting these different parts of you and working with those parts, and I think, and just sort of my way of accepting these all of these identities of mine are just pieces of who I am,
Yeah.
and I struggled quite a bit with definitely baby blues for sure, at the very least,
Oh, yeah.
if not some
Those hit
PPD,
me hard.
and throughout the time, and it was a struggle. I mean, I feel like at first it was the baby blues, and then I struggled with postpartum rage for the first bit, which I definitely still navigate. But then I kind of transitioned later on into PPD, which again, I was listening to your first episode of this, and the
Mhm.
way that you explained how you were like Googling, like, can it hit that late?
Does this
Like
hit this
8 months
late?
in or whatever?
Yeah.
I literally felt the same way. I was like, "Am I crazy?" Like, I felt like it was, like, 6 months in, and PPD felt like it was
Yeah.
really hitting for me, and I was really starting to get to the point where I was like, "Is this normal? Like, should I be feeling like this?" And,
Yeah.
things were just getting more challenging and starting to stack, and so
Mhm.
I think that and then I have a natural tendency in some ways. I've struggled with something called PMDD for a long time, premenstrual dysphoric
Okay.
disorder, and that's definitely been a piece of my how I navigate life in general. Like, I've had to just
Yeah.
accept that as a part of me, right? And so then I
Right.
have times where a PMDD will hit, which is essentially is like I was describe it as like PMS on steroids. It's just
Yeah.
heavy. really, really, challenging physically, mentally, all of the above. And
Okay.
and I'm not seeing things through my own eyes as Brenna. Sometimes I'm seeing them as like that version of Brenna that's, more cynical and just more challenged emotionally and has to really, really work 10 times harder to keep it this, a similar pace.
Yeah.
And so when I think, yeah, that like navigating motherhood with that and trying to figure out like, navigating it in a way that I was still kind of keeping a close eye on my mental health. But I was
Mhm.
surprised at, in some ways, it was like, yeah, this is a challenge and this is harder than I thought it was going to be. At many points, it definitely was like, this is really like a struggle, a major struggle. And I have such a hard time keeping it together because I always thought like, I'm not patient in life. I have
Okay.
ADHD. I've never been patient. I've never been like, I go off on tangents. I am not like, I've just, always been like that. But then I always thought with kids, I've worked with kids for so long. I'm like, working with kids, I'm so patient. I'm totally okay with this. I can handle this. But then I became a
Right.
mom. And then she's my child now. And I'm navigating this daily while I have the postpartum hormones and everything, all the
Oh my
hormones from,
gosh.
breastfeeding, all of this stuff going on. And it's harder. So
Yeah.
navigating it all while yeah, navigating it all with those parts of me was really challenging, and I found that
I
the
can
most
imagine.
tender, parts were like, yeah, like me trying to navigate it from the PMDD perspective, right? And those times when that hits and I'm feeling a lot darker or like just a lot like more emotionally sort of muted, right? And I'm just like, "Oh my god, how do I
Right.
navigate like anything today, never mind my,
Keep it
my
human
mothering."
alive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some of it I definitely thought, yeah, this is 10 times harder and it's harder than I thought it was gonna be, and then at the same time, I'm surprised a lot of the time with myself and impressed with the moments that I can be really patient and that I can handle it. Sometimes I'm
Oh,
like, "Man, I never imagined I could take this moment and be patient in it," and that happens a lot of the time too, so I try my best
yeah.
to see it both ways and just understand that, yeah, like I am very much, like, yeah, I'm challenged and I'm able to handle the challenge, so
Are you able
even if
to,
it
like,
feels,
pull some of, like,
oh
the
my gosh,
tools,
yeah.
that you would use to navigate before and kind of redirect them into navigating these moments in motherhood? Like, do you find that useful to be able to pull from?
100%. Yeah. And then, sometimes I do find that that can be challenging too, because it's like I will, my husband and I we talk about this a lot where it's like we have the tools, when it comes to like communication in our marriage, we have those tools. But sometimes when you're really in the heat, you're not pulling those tools that you know. And then
Yeah.
there's moments where I will get frustrated because I'm trying really hard to normalize this experience for me, validate myself in it, but also be like holding myself accountable and being like, yeah, but
Yeah.
you know how to do this. You know the tools, they exist within you. You have those internal resources and you're not using them right now. And then that will trigger me even more. And so I'm kind of this back and forth. I do it in my mothering as well, right? With my daughter, I'm like, there's moments where I'm like, I know how to handle this. I know that this moment might be a moment of redirection with her, or
Yeah.
I, especially navigating toddlerhood, right? It's like now she's so
Oh
much
my
more like
gosh.
trying to be independent and so
Yeah.
fussy in these certain moments, and
The roller
yeah, it's like
coaster
I
of
know what to do, but
emotion.
yes, it's crazy. It's literally
Yeah.
insane. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, and just it's like the when they talk about terrible twos, I'm like, "Oh, but does it not start at 1?" Because I'm like,
I
we're not
swear he
even near
turned 1, and now it's like if I close the fridge before he gets to touch the soy sauce, it's like the end of the world for about 5
end of
minutes,
the
and then I'm
world.
like, "We're here this way," you know?
Yeah, let's try to redirect and try to find something else that's not gonna be at all as interesting as getting into the fridge. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. Yeah, well, and then, with all of that, that kind of brings us into, the weight of everything that you kind of walk into in motherhood, but then also the mental load that comes with it, which I feel like
Yes.
mental load is such a it's getting talked about more. I'm seeing more and more of it, but I was
Yeah.
listening to a podcast today it was the author of what's it called? Sharing the Load, I think, or I'm gonna have to look at what the name I have it upstairs. But it's something about sharing the load. Anyway, she was saying it's a very um what's the word? Volatile subject on the internet because I guess
Yes.
posted like people can just go at it with it. But with motherhood can bring the constant mental and emotional load, and how did
Yeah.
you experience that in the early days, especially while navigating, you know, postpartum depression and rage along with it? Both of
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think like that's a huge challenge probably for any mom, right? But
Mhm.
you learn sometimes that um like I had a friend tell me once, she was like, "You think you don't have the help, but you do." And I was like, no, sometimes I just don't," which is true actually. Sometimes you just don't have the help and you do have to navigate on your own.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is true though, right? Where it's like you do have to we have to understand too that it's like when we're really in those hormones and we're really in that new motherhood experience and you're navigating things like potentially postpartum rage or postpartum depression, or you're just navigating new motherhood in general, whether you are struggling mentally like overall or not, there is
Yeah.
so much around having to balance that the mental load, and you naturally think things through 10 times harder, and you naturally are like everything comes down to your child first before yourself. We all know the experience of like walking out the door and you've got everything you need for your kid. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I forgot the most important thing, like a diaper, but then
Yeah.
I forget everything for myself, right? And so our entire, like I would say, it's just like my chemistry has changed, everything has changed about me, right? And like things are now focused on my daughter, and things become a little bit more bleak at times where it's like I feel like I really do have to navigate a lot of it like by myself. And sometimes I feel like my friends don't understand, or my husband doesn't understand, or, like it's like the only people I could turn to in those moments were my mom friends. Like they understood, they got it. Like they
Right.
understood where I was coming from and how I was feeling. And so I really had to like lean into that, I think. But and
Yeah.
just learn how to manage the load a little bit that way mentally, because the mental load is different from the physical load.
I think it was when we were messaging, you shared that the transition back to your career both helped and hindered you in your mental health. Can you unpack that
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely think, and it's interesting because like, I'm still definitely unpacking that, obviously.
Yeah.
I had 13 months off. I returned in May, and to
Oh,
but that was to my full-time work, to my one job. I had returned to my counseling clients only, I think it was 3 months postpartum or something, so still pretty
okay.
early on. And so in
Yes.
some ways I was like, okay, this was it was helpful for me because it did definitely like feel like I had something else to focus on and something else to do, and that was
Yeah.
wonderful. And then, and I just felt like there was like another part of my identity that I was able to access again and sort of come back to, which was great. Um, and I always say like when I could go into a session with a client where I am mentally like all over the place, and I
Mhm.
actually come out of that session feeling better myself. Like, so I feel
Right.
like that did really help in a lot of those moments where I just felt like, I don't know if it was the kind of being able to focus my thoughts on something else and just focus on the person sitting in front of me. I don't know if that maybe helped, but it just felt a lot more collected afterwards. So
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways that return helped and made a big difference for me. And the same thing with my returning to my other work in May. Like I think I definitely took a much larger and longer break there. It was 10 months after I returned to my counseling work. I returned to this job, and so I was 13 months postpartum at the time, and it definitely was like a big
Yeah.
thing, a big choice to go back to it. And now I'm back pretty much full time, working like both my jobs all the time, and
Yep.
so then that's a lot, obviously. So
Yep.
that it's definitely, it hits points where it's like, yeah, this is harder on me mentally, emotionally. I was
Yeah.
literally just having a messy mom moment earlier for myself where I was just like telling my husband, I was like, I don't know how, like, I feel like I am trying to manage so many different things that I am not feeling good at any one thing right now. And
Right.
that's a challenge. It's a hard thing to be like, I it's like I know I'm not bad at these things, but I also know that I just feel like it's really hard to balance every single thing. and then feel like I'm able to thrive in all of those environments, right? So it's like if I can be a really good counselor, that's great. That's awesome. Love that. And how am I showing up as a mom at
Yep.
all those moments, right? And if I'm really, really busy and doing well at my other job, and it's like I have, staff to manage and a department and programs to manage and things to do, and I'm running around all over the place, and that's great.
Oh
Things
my
are looking
gosh.
good. And then I'm crashing and burning out. And then I'm, maybe not the greatest wife, the next day. And so
Right.
it's sort of just finding the ways to be able to balance that for me, I guess, and also just again acceptance. Like it's like trying to navigate it and then
Yep.
trying to accept it at the same time, right? Accept that like, yeah, I may have moments where I'm just not the best at everything, or I don't feel like I'm the best at everything.
Yep.
And I also
It's
can't be
navigating that
the best
pressure.
at everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. There's a lot of pressure there, right? It's like we put a lot of pressure, I think, on ourselves as women in general,
Yep.
and as moms, right? But then it's like, yeah, try to like navigate all those things together and feel really good at all of them. It's hard.
Yeah,
So
I think I've touched this so many times on multiple episodes, but, like, when I wasn't doing I'm very creative and I need that creative outlet, and
mhm.
I found and that's when it was hitting me, like, the depression was when I was finding I wasn't having as much of an outlet.
Yeah, of
There was the income portion that came with it as well, but a
course.
lot of it was I wasn't having that interaction, I wasn't and what I found was the more that I was able I try to balance it, like, I'm here and I go see clients, but the more that I was able to get out there and be with my clients for, an hour, 2 hours, and I would come home and I was like, "I'm present." Like, I'm
Yes,
actually here, I'm actually wanting to play with you because I've had that
for
interaction, I've
sure.
had that stimulus or whatever however you wanna put
Yeah,
it,
you
right?
filled your own cup. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. You need that.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
and
yeah, and
I
that's
can
exactly
feel
help you, I think, to be able to grow in those other roles in your
Yep,
life and putting on those other hats in your life, right? Like you can be able to do that and do feel like you're doing better at it when you
yeah,
have that part of you that you have that thing checked off, right? And you have that part of that part of your cup filled, it's
yep,
that's really important.
and it does come, like you mentioned, it does come with that pressure to, I want to be a good mom, I want to be a good a lot of my work is very measured in terms of, performance, engagement, and that kind of stuff on my clients' accounts. So I get in my head where I'm like, okay, have I engaged enough? Have I put enough editing into X, Y, and Z? And like, no matter what your work is, like it sounds like that pressure is there because
Yes,
I don't know if you're like me, but I put a lot of pressure on myself. Like I'm
for
very,
sure.
very bad for just piling it. But and I feel like a lot of working moms do feel that way. Just or
100%.
moms in general, like, let's be honest, just
Moms in general. Yes.
moms in general, like,
Yes.
you know, what was it the quote that I saw was something about if it feels hard, it
I can't
only feels
remember.
hard for the parents who are involved or something
They're
like
they're
that, or
involved,
who
yes.
you
And the
know?
parents that are present, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's because you're putting 10 times, like, more thought and pressure into
Yeah,
how you show up, right? That's a hu that adds so much to it. So,
yeah,
absolutely, I think that's always, like, the little glimmer of hope and light at the end of the tunnel, where you're like, "Okay, but at least I know that I am trying, and at least I know I am." Yeah, I'm attempting to be
yeah.
present here, right? I'm attempting to be a good mom and to be a good
Oh my
partner and
gosh.
to be a good employee, right? And do well in my
Yeah,
job. So yeah,
and I guess as a working mom, you mentioned you have felt the pressure to perform perfectly,
for
whether
sure.
that be at home, at work, your relationship. How do you manage or release that pressure? Have you found kinda tips and tricks that work for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, like a big piece of it, I think, is I always go back to just acceptance. It's just that radical acceptance where I'm just like, there you I need to sometimes just like, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm just like, I am just I need to just allow myself to be accepting that it is going to feel it's just that the pressure is too much sometimes and it's going to be
Yep,
really unrealistic at times. And the more that I recognize, the more that I am trying and the more I'm pushing to try to be perfect, the less perfect I am at all of these things. Right. And that's exactly where the
yeah,
burnout starts to hit. I don't want to half ass anything that I'm doing and I want to be able to bring my all to it. But then it's also just for me, it's just been about recognizing boundaries and where I need to set those boundaries. There's there's times where I'm just like, I can't handle doing 5 full days of my one job, and then
Right.
going and taking clients in the evenings, right? Like,
Oh my
I
gosh,
can't
yeah.
handle that. I have, a 3-hour in total commute, like an hour and a half both ways to one of my jobs. So I'm driving for a lot of the day. And then my daughter's at daycare. So then when I pick her up, I want to spend time with her. And then she goes to bed
Yep,
and I'll see a client, right? And so, something like that. And it's sometimes that's really challenging. So I have to recognize like where are my boundaries and when can I set those boundaries? I need to set those boundaries for myself because otherwise I do
100%.
find myself trying to work late to make sure things are perfect and looking really good or booking too many clients when I maybe just didn't need to book that many that particular week or time or whatever. So like boundary setting and again acceptance has been really huge for
Yeah,
me, like the two
huge.
biggest things, and being able to understand where I need to like sort of ground myself and take a deep breath and take a break, right? Like there's times
Yeah,
where I find it really hard to ask. I don't know if you experience this as a mom, but like so many
I'm the
times somebody
worst.
would it's so hard
I
and it's like, oh my gosh, people will be like, "Oh, can I help you with this or this?" And I'm like, "No, it's fine. I got it." And then I'm like, I don't have this, and
I
like,
don't
"Oh,
have
it's
it at all.
fine." Yeah, and it's like, yeah, but, but sometimes I think what I have also learned, and I know this now as a mom, maybe for the next friend of mine who has a little one, um,
Yep,
as a mom, especially as a new mom, I think but this is probably the case for any mom, because I know that a mom is not going to ask for help, but that doesn't mean that they don't need help. Now
yep,
I know you need to intrude a little bit, right? Like
yep,
the most important thing that like any other friend of mine has done that is a mom was straight up saying like um she offered to babysit and she not only offered to babysit, but when I didn't say yes right away, she came back to me after she sent me a message and said, "You don't get many opportunities for this
yep.
and you need the time for yourselves." She's like, "You and
Oh
Alex need
my
the time.
gosh.
She was like, "You do not need to like do not say no to this." She was like, "Take me up on this, like allow us to do this for you and don't say no to it because this is, and
So good.
it was insistent on a way that I think was like I needed that. I needed someone to just tell me like not just offer it and put it out there and come back to it, but like straight up just like,
Yep,
"Hey, I'm going to check in again and make sure you know that like whether it's at my house or your house, wherever, I'll babysit wherever, but like I'm going to do this
it's
for you and you
happening.
not
Yeah.
it's happening and you need to not say no." And it was super helpful because it was like otherwise I yeah, you may have people and you're not fully hearing it that are offering to help with something and you're just
Yep,
not yeah, you're not fully like listening to it or whatever. So you do sometimes need to have those people insist and be like, "Hey," but and genuinely, want to do it. Otherwise, you feel like you're putting them on the spot or making them feel uncomfortable or something. But also just understanding like, yeah, you need to do that for yourself. You have to ask for that
yep.
help, right? So it's kind of like meeting in the middle in that way. It's challenging, but
Oh
been
my gosh.
helpful.
I remember even, like I mean, I've been my whole life, I've been really bad at ask. I'm very much like the hyper independent. That's my trauma
Mm.
response is the hyper independence,
Yes.
and I learned it very young, and I remember even having a conversation when I was pregnant with my fiancé, and he was like, "You're going to need to tell me when you need help. Like, we
Yes.
need to set this now." And I was like,
For sure.
"Yeah, totally, I'm gonna tell you.
I'll do that.
Totally." Yeah, we're working on it. Like,
It's a
we're
work in
aware.
progress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But, like,
Oh,
that giving yourself permission to ask for help,
yes.
is huge, and that's a
Yeah.
big tool, and that kinda leads us into what tools or principles I had from your trauma-informed practice, but just from your
Yeah.
practice overall, have you found the most helpful in your own journey? I know you said boundaries, that kinda stuff, but was there anything
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, I mean, I think boundary setting definitely is huge for sure, and normalizing and validating, and
Yep,
just being like able to sit with myself. It's super uncomfortable sometimes. I think like I found I would hear one of two things when I was before I became a mom, before I became a parent. I think this is like a really huge thing. My husband and I talk about this a lot. We're always like, people don't want to, a lot of people like they're too scared to become parents. They don't want to be parents or whatever because you hear horror stories from parents. You hear like how
yes.
awful it is, right? And you
Oh
hear
my god,
how like,
the just wait
oh,
until
yes, just wait until, yeah, this and that. It's like, oh, it's all gonna get worse. Good luck. And you hear
Yeah,
so much of that from people, right? And you hear a lot of, I think, which is a great thing. We are talking so much more about postpartum depression, postpartum rage, and
yes,
how that affects you. the ways it affects your relationship, right? Like there's
Oh my
that
gosh.
ways it affects you as a person and the things you get to do and want to do, all that. But what we sometimes don't talk about enough is actually like how beautiful it is, and I'm starting to hear that
Yes.
more. I mean, people do talk about that, but it's like you really need that balance of both where it's like you are able to talk about and just to be able to focus on it for yourself too in all the doom and
Yeah.
gloom and how hard it is. Be able to remember like this is the most beautiful stage of my life right now. And it's gonna be
That's
continue
so
to be
true.
beautiful as a parent. Like it's not gonna get like awful when my kid's a teenager. I'm still gonna,
Yep.
love my child just as much, right? And grow, continue to grow in my love for her and everything. But we're at this peak moment that is just like such a beautiful and wonderful thing. And I always talk about this with my husband. We have to talk more about that. We have to be really open about
Mhm.
that experience as well and how wonderful it is. And it's challenging because I find myself, maybe this is the counselor brain in me, but trying to figure out, is that too much for me to talk about when there's people that, for instance, may want to be parents, but they're not at that stage that there's
Right.
challenges there, right? And they're not able to become parents yet. And that's really hard. It's like, do I want to put that out there and hurt somebody, right? And then
Right.
also on the other side, I wanna make sure that I'm balancing that talk about, like, how challenging it is too,
Mhm.
alongside how, beautiful and amazing it is because you need to find those ways to normalize it. But essentially all to say that, like, it's important to find the balance between how we look at motherhood and how we speak about
Yes.
motherhood, because how I speak about it, I've learned, is how I see it. And
Yep.
when I'm sitting in the doom and gloom, I am feeling like really feeling it. And when I'm talking about it that way, then that's where I'm at. But then when I
Yeah.
have conversations with other moms where we're also talking about all these beautiful little stages that our kids are at, the independence of like learning to do things with them in the kitchen and how curious they
Yes.
are and how much they want to be close to us and all these things. And it's like, yeah, we talk about like it's a joke and it's so hard because it is, but it's also like, oh, that's so beautiful that, like, our kids just wanna be around us all the
He
time,
just
you know?
he just
So
just wants to help, just wants to be involved. Like, there is gonna
absolutely.
come a day where it's gonna be like, "Mom, bye."
Yes,
Like
right? And then when they are teenagers, they're all gonna be like, "Hey, let's do our own thing now. Like, I don't wanna be around my mom. That's not cool anymore." And so
Yep.
it's really soaking up these moments and understanding that, yes, this is really challenging, but I'm also in this place that if I do it right now for myself, I can soak this up and
I
understand that
love
this only
that.
lasts for so long, and I need to just feel into it, and I need to allow, co-regulation is a huge thing, that,
Yep.
with moms and babies and moms and toddlers, same thing, right? Like, you're learning how to regulate yourself through teaching your child how to regulate and vice versa. You're showing your
Yep.
child how to regulate when you're regulating yourself. So that's been a huge thing. Even like the times where she'll allow me, if my daughter will allow me to just give her a hug or to just hold her for a
Yeah.
minute, right? To give her a kiss, to whatever it might look like for us, like understanding that that is my moment to regulate and breathe as well, right?
Yes.
Like one day it's going to be teaching her how to take deep breaths and everything. I'm going to be doing that myself, right? And I mean, it's very challenging with, at this stage of toddlerhood when they're still so little and they're like under 2, but it's definitely co-regulation is a huge thing too, and just understanding
Oh
those
my
moments when they
goodness.
do start to calm down. It's like, okay, I can breathe a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
I have
so I
noticed that
think,
there's
yeah.
been times where, like, I've taken the deep breath because I was like, "Okay, I'm feeling myself getting" I'm getting to that point, and then I managed to calm myself down, the whole energy changes because I can feel that
Oh my
he's
gosh,
starting to feed off of my overstimulated energy, and then it's just
for
this,
sure. It's this
ball.
endless. Yes, it stacks, and it's this endless thing where I find that, they will look at our energy, and this is
Yeah.
very natural. I think this is, if you look at obviously child development, you see this is very common, but they look to mom to know
Yeah.
what is, if they're safe, essentially, right? To learn safety and to learn if they're okay and how, essentially, how they're feeling, right? If they fall and they see you're like, oh my gosh, and you're panicked, then they're gonna be
Yeah.
panicked, right? So it's the same idea. I think when we're overstimulated and exhausted, I do notice a lot of the times that my daughter will be in a certain place and so am I. And it's the chicken and the egg, which came first? I don't know.
Yes.
Sometimes she's
Who knows how we got
overstimulated
here?
and then I am. Exactly. And sometimes I am and I didn't even recognize it. And then she is. And so I've learned, even our car drives into daycare and stuff, when we've had a really hard morning getting ready together and stuff, I'll throw her in the car, we're driving, and I'm just like, I'll be talking to her, you're having a morning right now, and mommy's having a morning right now. We're having a
Yeah.
hard time together, but we're together. This is great. Let's throw some music on. Let's sing
Oh my
together
gosh.
and just try to make the last 10 minutes with her in the car before I go to work, just trying to make that really like a positive experience for me because I do think yeah,
It
that has
carries.
been really helpful. So
Yeah, and that can carry, like, switching that energy at that last moment, right? Like, if you're that kinda negative thought, I feel like I mean, personally for me, I feel like that would then carry into my next,
your day,
going into
yeah,
work or, like,
for
right?
sure.
It kinda ties it made me think of it because so I haven't, like, put this up on social media yet, but I am pregnant again. Like, we're yeah! So, this is also where my brain has now realized I'm pregnant, so it's
Oh
also
my
stopped working.
gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you back
And
right back in like the pregnancy brain again, which is like mom brain hit
yeah.
in pregnancy. Like we need to talk about that more. It's like,
Like, I think, like, the mom brain hit me, like, as like, before I even found out, I was like, "Why do I feel like things aren't connecting?" But the energy like, when I was pregnant with my son, I was very much like, "I got this, no problem." Like, I know, I've worked in childcare, it's gonna be very different with my own kid, but, like, at least I kinda know where I'm going with it, and I feel like I had
for
a
sure.
very, chill vibe, and he is probably the other than the fact that he's been on and off crying for the last 10 minutes, but he's very chill in general, like, just a very weirdly chill baby, but I keep having these conversations with my fiancé where I'm like, "I'm nervous. We're gonna have 2 under 2." And I told
Yes,
him the other day, I'm like, "I need to switch this mindset up because I don't want that to carry throughout the pregnancy," I need to be like and he's like,
sure.
"We're gonna be good." He's like, "We're a team, we're gonna figure it out." It had something to do with the phases is what made me think of it.
It's kind of like going back to the whole thing about like there's always going to be a new stage and a new phase. And
Yes.
so then it's like you will just get used to it. And yeah, it's not necessarily going to get easier, but also this is the thing I always think about when you're potentially stepping into having another child, stepping into another pregnancy,
Yeah.
you learn what you learned from your first, obviously, and then you're like, "Hey, I went through this once, and I know I can survive this. I know that
Yep.
I can do this." And then also, like, I went through this stage and this stage and this stage, the, like, newborn stage we all thought was, like, so freaking hard because, again, it is, right?
We
And
did,
then
but we
the
did it.
yes, and then it's like
We made
when
it
you are
through.
navigating solids, introducing solids, when you are,
Oh my
potentially when you
gosh.
start, like, weaning, when you start daycare, when with the return to work, with, like the sleep regressions, crawling, walking, whatever, all these different things, you learn how to manage all of those different stages and you
Yep.
become your own master at it, even though it does not feel like it at all. It feels like you're a mess. But then you're just like, you learn it all so well that it becomes ingrained in you. It's just a part of you. And then at
Yep.
the very least, when you're just in survival mode, okay, I can survive this because I have and
Yes.
I know that I'm going to be okay. And so
Oh,
it's just sort of
so
like
good.
that acceptance and understanding again, just like being able to reassure yourself and normalize it. Like,
Yep.
this is okay. I can feel this way. I'm going to be okay. At the end of the day, I'm going to survive it. It feels like absolute crap right now. And then I might go to bed feeling like I can't, what the hell did I just do today? Like, I just
Yep.
bombed so badly, or I did life so badly today. And yeah, and it's just so important to remember you're going to be able to do it
You
again
can do it.
tomorrow. And yeah,
100%. What's something that you wish more moms knew about healing? I feel like that's such a good point of just remembering
yeah.
in that moment, you can do this. It's gonna pass, and, whether that's from trauma, burnout, identity loss, or just in that hard moment itself.
Yeah, I think like one of the things that my husband and I tried really consciously to do stepping into parenthood was we were like, this is going to be hard. Like, we prepared ourselves right off the bat, and like kind of one of those things where it's like we're preparing for it to be hard, and also knowing it might be 10 times harder than that. And so it's
Okay.
just like just really not just preparing all the baby things and feeling super organized, getting the closet all ready because it's going to be a mess like 2 months in, and that's being gracious, that timeline. But like,
Yeah.
we put so much work and pressure into everything when we can, which is great. It's great to do that when you're in the nesting stage and you're like, you don't have a baby yet to care
Yep.
for and everything. But just kind of like preparing in advance for the messy parts too, and not just like all of having all the things ready to go. I hear a lot of second time parents that will say things like, the second time around, they like, didn't have the nursery ready at all, even by the
Yeah.
time like the baby came. They had everything just like in boxes and not unpacked yet from the first baby or whatever. And they just like were like,
Right.
everything's messier. And it's because I think probably because it's like more, well, for one, it becomes uncontrollable, the mess, but then it also is like, this is okay. I know I'm gonna survive this. And my kid is not gonna like, they're not gonna care whether things are unpacked from the boxes and in a dresser or not.
Oh, true.
And yeah, and it's like even my mom's brain may not worry about that as much as I think that it will. So just
Yep.
preparation for the mess and just like I think, again, like we just all talk about like all the best baby gadgets to get and everything. And like we put so much pressure and focus on that. And then
It's
you worry about
true.
like, do I have enough? Do I for my kid and do I have this and that and the other thing? And it's just like, don't even worry about those
Yep.
things. Like,
Because
that's
even,
half the time you won't use.
in well, and in terms of the baby gadgets, like, you think you have everything you need, right, going into it, like, I don't know the amount of Amazon packages that showed up at this store within the
Oh
first
my God,
month,
yes.
because I was like, "We don't
Yeah.
even have diaper cream." Like, and
Yeah.
he got, like, a rash or something, and I was like, how was that the one thing that we just didn't even think of was diaper cream?" So suddenly,
Yeah.
2 AM, I'm feeding him, and I'm like, "What do we need to
Gotta
order?"
order sometimes. Yes, exactly. Oh my God.
Oh,
We're still using the same tub from a year ago, and I'm like, I don't even care. Is it expired?
it is
I
what
don't
it
know.
is.
Like, oh my gosh. No,
It's
yeah,
actually his
good
favorite
to
thing to
go.
play with is the tube of diaper cream, and one day I know it's gonna open. It hasn't yet, but he just walks around, like, doing this, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
"I can brush my teeth in peace for 5 minutes, but
Yep.
one day I know I'm gonna look and he's just gonna be, like,
Covered
covered."
and yeah. And
But
will you care? You know what? It's fine. This stuff is probably non-toxic. It's all
it's
good.
fine.
Oh my
Um,
God.
is there, like, a mantra or an affirmation or I mean, I guess we keep touching ahead, but, a reminder that's carrying you specifically through this season that other moms might
Yeah.
find helpful?
Oh my gosh, I feel like this is probably something that a lot of moms, and a lot of people in general, when they're in certain
Yep.
stages, tell themselves, but I constantly use this too shall pass. I do it all the time for myself because I'm
That's
just so
so
like,
good.
and then actually somebody just taught me one the other day that I've never heard it that said this way before, but I really, really appreciated it. And she said her grandmother taught it to her, I think, and like started saying
Okay.
this, but that's what tomorrows are for. And I'm like, yes, that's so I
So
love that. I
good.
don't know what it is, but like there's something that stuck in my head about that because I was just like, yeah, it's a positive spin on just like, there's
Yep.
always tomorrow. I mean, it just makes it sound like such a normal thing that it's like, yeah, you might have a day and that's what tomorrows are for. It's like you are gonna have a really rough time potentially. And
Oh
also
my
you're gonna learn
god.
something new every day. So I'm just constantly like, this is another learning experience, another
Yep.
learning moment. And I feel like crap today and I'm gonna or in this moment, but I'm gonna have like those small glimmer moments through the day like we all do as moms. Like we could be totally
Yep.
overstimulated. I could be like in my rage or like really, really upset or frustrated, overwhelmed, whatever it is, exhausted. And then those small glimmer moments hit
Yep.
where I'm like,
They just do that little funny thing. They make
they
that
do
little
that.
funny noise, and you're
Yes.
like, "What?"
Or they come up to you and they get randomly cuddly, or they try, or they do
Mhm.
they do something new, or they like clap their hands with the person, whatever it might be. Like it's different for every
Yep.
mom and at different stages, but just those little glimmer moments. And if you just look out for them and pay attention to them. So I just,
So true.
yeah, I think like this too shall pass is just probably my number one. Right.
I love that. That's so much better. I go with say yikes and move on, but I like this too shall
And
pass.
I do that all the time. Yikes it is probably the main word in my vocabulary now. It's literally like, yeah, just any moment like yikes. Okay,
Yikes.
well,
Yeah.
let's keep going.
I feel like it
That's
adds a bit of humor to it. It
yes,
makes it a little less serious is I think why I've always
100%.
gone with it. But,
Oh my gosh.
um, okay, we've reached, like, the rapid fire, just
Yes,
quick questions at the end kinda
talk
thing.
about pressure.
Uh, absolutely no pressure at all. Slow fire if you need to. Um,
Mom brain
but
fire.
yeah, I mean, my brain's firing on, like, half a cylinder. So, um, motherhood in one word for you.
Wild, wild.
Yes,
Yeah, I think that's
that's
just the
so
best way
good.
to describe it. Yeah, it's wild in like the best way and wild in the worst ways, in the craziest. It's just,
Yeah,
yeah, it's wild.
I love that. Okay, and one thing that brings you back to yourself.
Oh my gosh. Like, um, reflection, and just
Yep.
like yeah, make reflection. And I'll say like a good favorite TV show, some like just
Yes,
my own favorite,
the comfort show.
comfort show. For me, it's Friends, but everyone has their own.
I
And it's just like,
love it.
Yeah,
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 for me,
take me
it's
back
what is
to
it?
old days.
Friends and New Girl are the 2 I usually go to.
Oh, yeah, New
Have
Girl is, like,
on.
I feel like an underrated one that we need to talk about more. Yeah, oh my
Underrated.
gosh. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, okay. A moment this week that made you laugh.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
I would
gosh.
hate this if I was put on the spot like this, I'm so
Yes,
sorry,
I'm
as
like, "Oh,
I'm trying to
yeah."
think of answers for
No, but
myself.
I'm like, "I need to think about this." And, like, there is it's so funny how, again, it's like, as a mom, you're like, "Did I laugh this week?" I'm like, "I laughed at many points." Nora Jean has this way right now of doing, like, oh my gosh, she'll, like, do something that she knows is funny, and then she'll
Okay,
immediately, like, look over with this, like, just, like, little, like, like, a little
that was
smirk, and
funny,
she's like,
right?
You gonna laugh about that one? That was good."
Oh
And yeah, and it always kills me. So I'm just, yeah, that, like, every single time she just does, she literally will, she'll do something and she'll literally, sometimes she'll look down just like for herself and just be like, "Huh." I don't think she's just like so satisfied.
oh my
And
god, I love
sometimes
that.
I'm like, wow, I wonder if like the little version of me is in there now, or if it's like she's picking up on
Right?
the way that I might do something as a fully grown adult and she thinks it's so hilarious. So yeah,
Oh, that's
that
so
always
good.
makes me laugh. Yeah.
I love their little personalities start, like, sprinkling through, and you're like with Brody right now, I'm like, "Are you gonna be a menace? You're gonna be a menace." Like, I can already see it. Like,
You
it's
see those little
starting.
bits of their personality really starting to hit and
My gosh, this has been such a, like I'm so happy we got the record I was texting Chris, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good." Like, "This is such a good conversation. I hope we can get the video going again." Thank you for sharing not just, like, your wisdom from your work, but also, your personal side of it. I know I mean, I'm a wide open book, but I know it can be hard to share sometimes, that
for
side of it, and I
sure.
really appreciate you coming on to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, I so appreciate you, I mean, having this space to begin with, for moms. I feel like it's like the most refreshing conversation I've had in a while, and I just genuinely think like I have those conversations talking to other moms where I'm just like, oof, like
Mhm.
talk about coming back to yourself. Like that's one of those things I think that really makes a difference
Yes.
too, is like talking to friends of yours that get it or talking to other moms who understand, who've been there, who like just genuinely get it. I think that stuff is so incredibly
Yes.
important and it's just it's huge to have a space like this. So thank you for inviting
Oh
me
my
to
gosh.
be a part of it. I'm like honored
I'm
to be
so
able to
happy.
participate with you.
And on that note, for anyone who's, resonating with your story, where's the best place, or is there a place to connect with you or learn more about, your work and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, like it's so funny. I try to just be really open on my personal social media. I try to be as open as I can. And so I'm like, what the heck is my handle? I think it's just Bren Coles, Brenn Coles, Coles.
Perfect.
But I also have my Instagram handle, Brenna Coles Counseling. Hopefully I will get to a point of actually being good at posting. I'm always like, open book. And I'm like, I am always pretty open. That would be the easiest way for now.
For being here and for the work that you do. I know in
Yeah.
so many ways that so many listeners, hopefully, like I'm walking away from this conversation definitely feeling lighter and seen.
Mm.
Like I feel like that's kind of what all these conversations have been giving. So I'm hoping that other people can also pick that up. So
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's so important. And like I said, just having this space too and the collaboration is just like such an incredible thing. So thank you for having that and for
amazing.
yeah, inviting me to just be a part of that today.